Welcome to the Red Raider Outfitter Insider Mailbag. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the Mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe's been a long time, but we finally have a football game week mailbag. How you feeling? How you living?
Yeah, man, loving it. Ready to get after it. It could be an interesting season. It really could, and we're about to kick it off now, so that's good.
It's going to be interesting one way or the other, I think. I feel like. And speaking of the season, first question comes from 512 Raider. He says, it's game week and he's still not super excited. What's our read on the fan base as a whole for this season? How was the local buzz around the start of the season? Joe, I gotta say, this is, and I'm really interested to get your perspective on this, but this is the least buzz I've ever felt before a season. It's really kind of like, I don't want to say eerie, but it's just weird. It seems like nobody's really excited. You're not seeing like all the tech gear all over town. Like when I first got here, it was tech crazy and everybody was gung-ho, and now it's just kind of like meh, really. And I think if you combined the fact that Kingsbury's situation with just the continued style of play, the fact that the defense has been, so it's hard to get behind a team that doesn't play any defense. I mean, let's face it. And West Texans are pretty tough people. Texas Tech people are tough people, and the team doesn't play very tough. So I think it's hard for them to rally behind that. And then you throw in just the fact that he's on the hot seat, and I think everybody's just kind of waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. It's really very low key right now. This is the wages. These are the wages of losing football. I mean, in mediocre football, it happens. It's like the sun coming up in the morning and going back down. It's just going to happen. Winning cures all this stuff, and we're hearing expectations of 55,000. I gotta be honest. I'll be surprised.
Me too.
I'm kind of thinking it could be even 10,000 less than that.
Really?
So yeah, I'm around 45.
I was thinking like 50.
Yeah, I'd be happy with 50 if they top 50, I'll be all right. But then listen, if they were opening up the season against Ohio State or something like that, that'd be a little bit different. But it's just like I don't remember the last time Texas Tech opened up here at home against a team that got you really excited, a helmet school of some sort. And maybe that's just something that you just don't see very much in college football anymore. But that's part of it too.
I think now some schools, they'll play at a neutral site,
Right.
and it'll be like the game on ABC or whatever, But other than that, you don't see a lot of home and homes with the first game. Now, second week, that's kind of like make or break for you in your non-conference. Usually it's you cupcake, then you play another helmet school your second week, and then third week you play like a non-Power 5 Division I school. That's generally like kind of the guideline I've noticed. So, and Tech does that too as well. So, but yeah, I have to say, the least amount of excitement I've seen since I've been back, and definitely since I remember as a kid, and that's a different perspective, but night and day difference to like the late 90s to now.
Right.
All right, next question comes from Pointman1. He says, speaking of punting, we're talking about punting, many coaches believe the statistics argue that teams should be going for it on fourth down more. What do you think Kingsbury's tendencies will be this year on going for it on fourth and short between the 40-yard lines?
Well, if those coaches feel that way, why don't they do it?
Yeah.
It's easy enough to say that, when you're talking to a reporter or something like that. When you're down there on the field and you got to make the call, it's a gamble, and it's a tough thing to do. But I think ultimately what any coach has got to do is he's got to do what he believes is the best thing in that particular situation for his team. Okay, regardless. And every coach has a little bit of a different makeup with regard to that. Some are more innate gamblers, and others are more conservative. But the one factor that I think you have to consider, especially for this season, is that this is the make it or break it season for Kingsbury. And if he's in a situation where maybe it's kind of a coin toss, do you go, do you punt? In the past, he might have punted it away. This year, he may err on the side of saying, hey, we just got to let it all hang out. So I think he could be a little bit more aggressive than you've seen him in the past for that reason.
Or he could be less because he's nervous and he doesn't want to face the criticism. But I think, and I would hope, that it would depend on his confidence in his offensive line and his running back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you feel like, all right, my offensive line could just lean on these guys and we can pick this up, then you would do it. But then again, that's one of the things with the air raid where, especially Pat struggled with this, maybe more than anything, was going under center. It just looked awkward. So you got to worry about I know this sounds crazy, but you got to worry about the exchange, the snap. So the center quarterback exchange. But no, I would hope that it would come down to matchups and the confidence he has in his offensive line and his running back. Not just, screw it, let's go for it. My job's on the line.
Right.
Or the other way.
Well, I mean, you got the big boy Nisby back there this year, so we'll see if that makes any kind of a difference.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it does. Mason Reed.
Yeah.
Put Mason Reed,
both of them.
Yeah, and a defensive tackle back there. One of your athletic defensive tackles. Run them over. All right, Juicebox has a question. He wants to know how aggressive Gibbs will be against Eastern Washington. Do you think he's going to hold anything back for maybe like Arizona State, or do you think he's just going to let it all fly?
Well, no, I mean, he's definitely, to me, this offense is good enough, and Texas Tech's defense is historically bad enough that that entire playbook is open for this game. I don't think that Tech has enough of anything close to an overwhelming advantage defensively. So, he might like to hold some stuff back, but I just don't think it's going to be there for him to be able to do that, and they're going to have to pretty much put all their cards on the table. Now, in terms of aggressiveness, schematically, lots of blitzes, lots of man coverage. I don't know. I would really hope that you're able to just kind of control everything with your base defense, and you don't have to really do anything too radical. But we'll see. It could be a little bit of a struggle at times.
Yeah, I think he's going to come out and try and be a little vanilla and see, because I agree with you. Ultimately, he's not going to be able to. I think Eastern Washington is going to be a lot like Sam Houston. I really think the game's going to be similar, and that's going to be a shootout, and the Tech will pull away late. Because this is a quality offense with a quality quarterback, a dual threat quarterback who always gives Tech trouble. So I think at first they're going to try, because if it was a lesser opponent, let's be honest, they would go like a lesser FCS opponent, then they would go vanilla. But I think he's going to try, but in the end, they're going to have to do some things. They're going to have to blitz some corners. They're going to blitz some safeties from different angles and different timing, and disguise their coverage a little bit more than maybe they would want to, because Eastern Washington can score points. D. Wolvie asks, who benefits the most from the Brooks-Allen tandem, the defensive line or the secondary?
Secondary, because, for a couple of reasons. Number one, if those guys are good in their pass drops, if they're good in coverage, that helps the secondary, obviously. Yeah. They're blocking passing lanes. They got their hands up. They're where they're supposed to be. That shuts a lot of stuff in the middle of the field down, and the stuff in the flat a little bit as well. Now, in addition to that, if these guys are hitting their run fits, right?
Yes.
Then your DBs aren't peeking back into the backfield all the time. They're not having to worry about that ground game so much as a running back coming through and I'm headed the other direction. You don't worry about that so much if you got confidence in your linebackers doing what they're supposed to do against the running game. So in my opinion, it definitely helps the DBs a little bit more than the D-line.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And to me, it's in the run game, especially, both the physical and the mental pressure they can take off the defensive backs by being clean with their tackles, to where they're not having to take on the running backs as much as they have in recent years. All right, Sindin Mahomey wants to know, will the secondary get the job done? Speaking of the secondary, how short is the leash for Vontae, the Hammer Dorsey, and Des Smith?
Yeah, well, you certainly hope they get it done, because, this is one of the groups that everybody's been talking about, as the most probably improved group over last season. They got all these JUCO guys coming in. You got and Justice Parker and Trevor Walker. These guys could be steals, right? And we've all been talking these guys up. Octavius Morgan, the Emperor, as you call him, is the guy that probably is getting the most publicity. Is somebody who's a lockdown type of a cornerback. So, if all this stuff is true, they should get the job done. Now, as to Dorsey and Des Smith, I think because you got so many bodies back there and so many guys, so much potential depth, that the leash could actually be fairly short. I think maybe especially more so for Dorsey than Des Smith. And the reason for that is Smith in the past has had some confidence issues. I think he gets down after bad plays, and I don't think, particularly in the opening game, you want to do anything to put that back in his mind by yanking him out of there too quick. So I think you probably give him a little bit longer leash. But with Dorsey, there's a bunch of good options back there besides him. Trevor Walker, Keyshawn Allen, and possibly Justice Parker even going back there. And I think it's probably a pretty close race between him and some of those guys. So if he's not getting the job done, then he may sit a little bit.
And you crushed it. I don't even know what I could add to that. That was awesome. Good stuff, Mighty Joe. Raider Power 81 asks, with the commitment of Sterling Galban, are we done, or is Texas Tech done with the wide receiver position, or is there still room for Drew Jackson? Yes, there is still room for Drew Jackson. That's the easiest way I could say is absolutely. And then, are there any uncommitted studs coming in for the game this weekend for either official or unofficial visits? I think there probably will be, and especially maybe some local guys, but it's been really quiet for a season opener as far as a recruiting weekend. Now, in 2 weeks, for the Arizona State game, I believe it's going to be the opposite. I think it's going to be the biggest visit weekend possibly of the season. For one, you don't have the big dogs, OU and UT, on the schedule coming here, and two, it just lines up really nice for your schedule where you can get some of your Texas guys in here, some of your guys from around the state. So watch for that. I think there's going to be a heavy weekend for Arizona State. I'm really excited about that. The final question comes from BF Matador 2012, who wants to know if the I Like Spike helmet stickers are going to be available to the public. As of right now, no, I do not believe they're going to be available to the public, but that could change. I've been told that could change. So, which is the similar answer to your second question, which is, have we heard anything about honoring Luke Gonciorski? I've asked 3 times with Tech, and it was kind of like, we're going to find out, we'll get back to you. And as of Wednesday of this week, the answer was no, they didn't have anything planned. Now, they did send him a jersey, all kinds of like really nice memorabilia and swag that was in a really nice frame to the Gonciorski family. And I know Luke's mother tweeted back her appreciation, how much it meant to their family. So they have done that. As far as honoring in the game, they might do something at some point, but as of right now, nothing is planned. So, hey, that's going to do it for another great mailbag. Can't wait for the next one after the first game. Can't wait for the game. Mighty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank you all for watching.